This is Venkatesh Prasad from Inspiro AS. So we'll be starting our mains classes basically for KAS mains paper 1 and section 2, which is basically social and political perspective. So when we say social and political perspective, the first thing that we need to understand is what actually is the social and political perspective. Why should I know the social and political perspective? Take any topic for example, there are multiple dimensions to address the topic, and whenever you want to see any change in society, we need to address the problem from both from social angle and from the political perspective. So to give you an example, we can take the simple example of poverty. If you look at poverty, the social angle of poverty would be seeing it from the angle of caste discrimination or inequality or lack of access to resources because of social stigma or social ostracization. At the same time, if you look at from the political perspective of poverty, what are poverty alleviation programs done in India, or how are we attacking poverty by economic reforms or by trickle down theory, are we trying to eradicate poverty? So we'll be seeing the same problem from multiple perspectives. How is the government doing for welfare programs or economic reforms or lack of access to education? So this is how we need to look into every aspect of syllabus. One is from the social perspective and other thing is from the political perspective. So if you look at the syllabus also deals with a similar way only. Like say for example, here we have poverty, here we have women development, women empowerment. So when we say women empowerment or women development or changing status of women, if you look at changing status of women, there are two things once again. So women from the social perspective, how do we bring about the status of women with respect to the current era? At the same time, how is the polity or the political things that we are doing to make sure that they come into the mainstream, the legislations? At the same time, how is social change coming up? Social change coupled with social legislations, how are these things helping change the status of women? We need to combine these two to arrive at the answer. So if you look at it, just a small, to give you a small example, if you look at this one, changing status of women as an example, we can look at the questions which are come in the previous year. See, the question is elucidate the favorable factors which are responsible for the upliftment of status of women in modern India. When we say upliftment of women status, again we have to look at it from the multiple perspectives. So what is that multiple perspective? One is from the society and the social change, other is from the political angle. Say for example, modernization, access to education, or impact of the West, or awareness, social reforms. If you look at it from the political perspective, social legislations, dowry abolition, domestic violence, or you can look at it from Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Correct or not, sir?
Yes, sir.
We have the same thing. See, look at this question which has come in the last year. See, this one. This is your 2014 paper or the first exam which happened after syllabus change. This is the recent one, 2021, which was the last examination. So this is a, see, elucidate the favorable factors responsible for the upliftment of women. The same question has come in a different way. Discuss the factors that are responsible for changing status of women. So almost on the similar lines. Or if you look at this one, describe the concept of a role conflict, first part, and the second part says discuss the nature and extent of the conflict among the working women. So when we say conflict among the working women, so we have to talk about glass ceiling or dual burden. So these kind of things we need to talk. So if you look at this dual burden, it is kind of a social perspective because the woman has to take care of family also because of the traditional role which is associated with her. At the same time, she has to take care of the office or she has to go out and work also, dual burden. Glass ceiling, so it is like an invisible barrier which is being put for the career progression of women. Invisible barrier. So now we need to break this. So to break this, it requires the political will and together with social change. So whichever topic we are going to look at it from the syllabus copy, we need to look at it from the holistically, both from the social perspective also and from the political perspective also. So if you look at this one, the question, social policy legislation brings social change, discuss. If I make a small change and say like this, social policy or legislation alone cannot bring social change. Will not bring social change. So why do we say this? Because just by bringing the policy, we cannot expect the society to change overnight. It's a social change is a long time process. It has to come from the society. Just by forcing upon some change, I will not be able to bring in the entire social change. So it requires time and effort. So what are the efforts which are being taken from the societal side? At the same time, what are the things that the government is doing. So when we say social political perspective, this is how we need to cover every aspect of every topic which is mentioned here. Maybe backward class, it may be reports of the backward class committees, or it may be directed social change. What is social change? How can government affect social change? Say, for example, earlier we used to have child marriage, but today people are not going for child marriage because of two reasons. One is child marriage abolition act is there, you cannot marry before 18 years. At the same time, with the changing status, today people have realized that we need to educate everyone. At the end of the day, it's all about whether he or she is able to earn more and whether he or she is able to get a good life. So today we have realized that for good life we need good education. So today we are not going for early marriage because the society has accepted that education is important. So when we say social change or role conflict or youth unrest, everything we need to look at it from multiple perspectives. So whichever topics are mentioned here, it has to be dealt on the social angle. At the same time, it has to be dealt with the political side of it also. That is how we need to do it. And as usual, without practice, whatever knowledge you may be having, it is of no use. So if this syllabus copy, whatever is mentioned here, if this is the boundary or the edges with which we have to deal with, the previous year questions give us a guideline as to how the questions might come. So keeping these two in mind, we have devised this entire module of social and political perspective, which we will be trying to cover in approximately 18 to 20 classes. So every day we will cover one topic according to the schedule, and at the end of the class, we will give you 5 questions. You will be made to write one question in the classroom itself, so as to test your understanding and how attentive and how your presence of mind in the class was. Next 4 questions we will be giving you as a homework, which you have to write and submit the next day, which will be evaluated, and the faculty is going to discuss that. So in this way, we are going to cover the entire topics, keeping in mind the previous year question paper, so that we can frame the questions in the way which we can expect in the real examination also. So total for all 20 classes, you'll be practicing questions every day, and they will be getting the feedback. So your answer rating will be complete, and you will be having 3 tests. One test at the mid of the course after the completion of 4 units, other test for the remaining 3 units, and put together you will be having one more test. 2 mini tests and one full length test will also be provided in this module. So apart from these 100 questions, so these 100 questions will be separate, plus this mini test will be for 20 questions, this mini test will be for 20 questions, and this entire full length test will be for another 20 questions. So you'll be practicing approximately 150 questions in this module with complete feedback and evaluation. So please make use of it. Thank you.